I'm Dan, as always, I'm hanging out with Mike.
Hello.
Clair.
Hey.
And Pete.
Hello.
Today is an Anthology of the Strange, an episode where we find all the stuff that we couldn't quite stretch out to a full episode and put it into one.
And today I'm being a 1950s policeman. Hello, old chum. How are you today? Oh, what's going on
No,
here?
you're fucking not.
And I just thought that
No, you're
like
fucking
that.
not. Simple as.
No pigs on here, on our podcast.
How rude. Police officers, you mean?
Fuck off, bootlicker.
I wanted to be a copper when I was a kid. I'm so glad I fucking changed my mind on that, though, in all fairness.
How long have you been smoking weed?
What are you on about?
Oh, well, aside Pete's bootlicking, let's move on. Right, let's thank some new returning listeners and we'll crack on with it. Tigerton in the US, I haven't got the states on here, we're doing it off my phone. Rotherhithe in the UK, Phoenix in the US, Perth in Australia, Haiti in America, Frankfurt am Main, Germany, Chennai in India, Barcelona in Spain, Alexandria in Egypt, Edinburgh in the UK, Bengaluru, India, Guadalajara, Spain, Greenville in the US, Grand Rapids in the US, Stevenage in the UK, and top is Ashburn, Virginia. I think it's Ashburn, Virginia, isn't it?
Yeah.
Usually we have Ashburn, your top, well done.
We've had a few new destinations this week.
Welcome
Yeah.
to everybody.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Tell a friend, tell several friends. Follow us on Facebook at Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. YouTube is, what's YouTube? Apocalypse Bull. And Spotify and SoundCloud is Cutting to the Bull in the PTA, and that's on most other podcasting platforms as well. So let's crack on with the first one. The Monkey Man of Delhi.
Which one?
Well, I'm presuming there's only one.
I'm sure I've heard this kind of story a few times. Go on.
Could be.
Well, the summer of 2000 was a tough time for Delhi as a city and its population of 19 million. Fuck me.
That's mad, isn't it? In a city.
Yeah.
It's not even that. I don't think the footprint of it's that great, is it? For
All
19
packed in,
million
aren't they?
people.
Poor lighting, cramped housing, and excruciatingly hot nights, yeah. And reports of a vicious attack by a monkey man. So you've got
And rolling blackouts.
rolling blackouts, cramped housing, sweltering heat, and a monkey man roaming the streets attacking people.
Is this like the Orang Pendek or something, though, is it?
Could be.
The Indonesian equivalent to the Bigfoot kind of thing, like a upright, slightly taller, unusual monkey thing. Is that what
probably not
this-
the Indonesian one because it's a bit of a trek, isn't it? But the Indian.
Not unless he
you know,
migrates a long fucking way.
No, my point is there seems to be these different
Yeah.
kinds of Bigfooty-like things, but sometimes they're only 6 foot tall, but they're a bit more man-like than monkey, but they are still
It's different types of Yeti, isn't it, around the world?
essentially, yeah. And maybe this is
Maybe.
India's Yeti,
Could
because
be.
I think I have heard accounts of one in India before.
So-
I've been called Monkey Man as well.
It's no Batman, is he? Let's face it.
I know
Yeah.
it's not on the cool radar, is
No.
it? Like.
When reports of a vicious attack by a monkey man began to emerge, mania spread like wildfire. Who was the monkey man? How did the media become a major driver in the rumours? And did the media inadvertently cause the deaths of 2 terrified Delhi residents?
I know who his arch nemesis would be, though, Monkey Man.
Banana Man?
Yeah, definitely. Damn you!
Come to my mind as well.
All of the accounts shared the fact that the incidents took place at night, which make it difficult to identify the attacker right away due to dim lighting and Delhi's ongoing rolling blackout. As you said, had not been seen on surveillance footage or in a photograph, police were forced to rely solely on the physical descriptions given by the victims. So, what's he look like? Let's have a look. Initial rumours spread quickly, owing to one astonishing detail. The assailant was described as a monkey man, a hybrid of man and a monkey. Of the 350 sightings, the majority agreed the monster was ape-like, between 3 to 6 feet, 1 metre to 1.8 metres tall.
Quite a difference.
That was a real difference.
Say
isn't it?
5 to 6 feet. 3 to 6 feet. I mean,
Yeah.
If it's 3 foot, I'm kicking that fucker.
Like if you were saying it was 6 to 9 feet, there's a 3 feet variation there, but that feels a bit more. Because 6 foot, you'd be like quite tall. 9 foot, really tall. But yeah, somewhere in between that.
3 foot, I'm kicking it.
But 3 to 6 feet does sound really weird.
6 feet,
doesn't
I'm
it?
kicking him in the balls.
Yeah.
A dark, hairy body and red, beaming eyes. There were numerous claims the assailant could be seen leaping away from numerous crime sites. I'd like to point out a spring-heeled Jack. You know, he's jumping away from crime
I
scenes.
wonder if he left a calling card. Banana skin. Oh, the monkey man's been here.
As more and more reports started to come into the local media stations, the number of people contacting the police with reports exploded. The descriptions started to become more fanciful, ranging from the attacker being a monkey-like creature with Freddy Krueger-like claws, to someone wearing a leather jacket and donning a motorbike helmet. So we've got a lot of variation in the reports here.
I think it's just gathering traction and people are just jumping on the bandwagon and then.
That explains how he got from Indonesia.
Drove a motorbike.
Yeah, there you go. It is orang pendek.
Yeah. Get the motor running.
We were talking about what there? Orang Minyak, which is oily man. That's a Malaysian legend. They're all similar, very similar kind of. Yeah, they're all over the place. I suppose there's no difference to fucking werewolves and things like that, is it?
Dogmen.
Yeah, it's all that kind of thing, isn't it?
It became difficult to separate the Monkey Man sightings from other assaults in the city because you got so many varying reports.
Yeah.
With some bloke on a motorbike, he just got off his bike, kicked the fuck out of someone and buggered off. If it was the legit Monkey Man down the road who's just slashing an old lady to death.
Anyone from between 3 to 6 feet.
Could be wearing a motorbike helmet.
May not.
Might be really hairy.
Might be hairy. Might be able to leap small buildings in a single bound.
And might have Freddy Krueger claws.
Might.
Might.
He might have none of those features. Could just be a guy.
It could just be, yeah. Hysteria had, however, gripped the scorching metropolis, and understandably concerned cities went to the authorities to protect them. Many of the reports were ludicrous and have been sensationalised by the media, leaving local police enforcement at a loss.
See, it's just another rock ape, isn't it? An orang pendek, an orang. It's one of those. It's one of those mythical creatures that either get made, fabricated, and then everyone jumps on the bandwagon.
Or it's a man in a
Or-
monkey suit.
Well, yeah.
Well,
It's
if
just
you're fucking
somebody-
off for that in a scorching Delhi and rolling blackouts.
That is a good point.
Yeah, but at least you...
As much as you want to do
Identity's
crime,
hidden.
you need a bit of comfort, even if you are a criminal.
How do we know he's a criminal? How do we know the people getting attacked don't deserve it? How do we know he's not a vigilante dressed as a giant monkey?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Like
Is he more like Batman,
Yeah, is he-
Banana Man, and he just keeps being seen at these crimes because he's been there to try and
He could be trying to take down an organised crime ring.
stopping the bad guys.
Yeah. Drug dealers are tied to lampposts.
Yeah.
Brutally slashed.
Yeah.
We may need to look into this further. See if at all these crime scenes there seems to be a couple of members of the public that have been tied up or something. And say, "Oh, I was innocent."
I'm not going to fucking Delhi.
What? You don't want Delhi Belly?
I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Delhi.
Well, we can get $1,000 if you find him.
Oh, 50,000 rupees.
We'll be fucking rich in Delhi if we went there and found him, though.
Yeah, they offered the reward 50,000 rupees and designated a reporting hotline and asked for any reliable information that could lead to the capture of the monkey man. Do you think there's a spotlight? Put this banana.
To try and draw him in.
I can't be rolling blackout, you can't.
No.
God damn it.
No, that's why there's rolling blackouts. They're using all the power to fuel the spotlight.
The monkey signal.
The monkey signal. This reporting hotline didn't go well because people just kept on poking and hoaxing and pranking it.
Ringing it every 5 minutes. Yeah, I've just seen a monkey man. Yeah. That'd be funny.
So the story was picked up by the media like a far-fetched blockbuster movie storyline, and the media coverage sparked other reports even crazier than the previous, which in turn sparked additional media reports, and so began a ridiculous cycle, a self-serving media feeding frenzy. After 2 weeks passed with no arrests and little to show from the police enforcement, the terrified citizens decided to take matters into their own hands. Vigilante organisations started to proliferate in places with high concentration of low socio-economic status where people lacked access to power generators.
There's groups of hoodlums wandering around fucking...
The dark streets of Delhi, in the shittest areas.
Pitchforks and torches, essentially. That's what that sounds. That's what I'm getting
Anyone
from
that
that in
looks,
my head.
anyone that looks suspiciously hairy is getting a pasted. Contrary to wealthier Delhi residents who could rely on backup generators for illumination during blackouts, poorer Delhi residents were forced to sit in their dimly lit or dark homes, and many feared the violent monkey man may use the blackout to his advantage and mount an attack in the shadows. The monkey man hysteria became so extreme that many people were indeed hurt, not by the attacker, but by the terror it provoked. A report in the Washington Post claimed that a van driver was chased by a mob that believed him to be the monkey man, dragged out of his vehicle and severely beaten.
Oh, I didn't mean to laugh then.
He was hospitalised with multiple fractures.
The monkey man's driving a van.
Yeah.
That's what I was laughing
Yeah,
at.
that's what makes that comical.
It's ridiculous,
It's
isn't
like, fuck me, how thick are these people?
Well, 2 people died to their own fear. One man was so terrified the monkey man would catch him, he dared scale a roof. Which seems to be the last place I'd want to be. If there's a monkey man on the loose,
Yeah.
I want to be inside, not outside up in the air.
Yeah.
Sadly, he didn't possess the monkey-like agility of his supposed attacker, and he fell to his death.
Oh dear.
Fucking hell. That's ridiculous though, isn't it? Monkey man's on the loose, must get on the roof. But if there's a monkey man, he can climb up, can't
A lot better than you.
Yeah.
Clearly. Another terrified victim was a pregnant woman who, in a rush to escape, tragically fell to her death down a flight of stairs.
God.
Escape from what?
I don't know, maybe
a shadow that just looked was
here's something on the roof. I don't know. It's
The guy climbing up the roof, like...
probably that guy climbing up the side of a building.
It's the fucking monkey.
It's the monkey man! Ah! Fucking dickhead.
Both cases were cleared, demonstrating the risk of frenzy as well as a journalist's lack of effort in debunking this harmful myth. To add fuel to an already out of control blaze was the religious element to this tale. Hanuman is a Hindu god and warrior, depicted as a half-god, half-monkey, and it is thought he commands an army of monkeys, which does sound kind of cute. Further cry of concern was arose in communities by the fact that 80% of Delhi's people identify as Hindus. They're like, shit, the monkey god's here to fucking cleanse us of our sins here. He's cleansing society of the wicked.
That is quite fucking hilarious, actually, isn't it? When
You can make a good fucking film out of
think
that.
of it like that, though.
Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah.
Oh God,
There ain't many.
do you reckon that's like banned? Like Hindus don't watch things like that. Like he's not on their register at all.
Blasphemous.
Yeah.
It's a possibility, isn't it? Nah,
He actually looks a bit like one of the monkeys from the Planet of the Apes. That does.
apart from the fact he's green.
Apart from the fact that it's green, but it's. Do you reckon that's where they took the inspiration for the face of the monkey? Was in that film.
No, they just had monkeys. They just took it from the monkeys that we have now. Gorillas, apes, chimpanzees.
Sort of mashed it with a bit of humour, ain't they?
Yeah, but that particular statue looks very similar to the monkeys from.
Because it's a
Planet of the
monkey.
Apes.
And their monkeys. There's a common theme here. The theme is their monkeys.
Funny fucker. You know what I mean.
Well, I mean, if
Yeah, alright, shut up now. They're monkeys, we know.
Would be cool to have an army of monkeys, though, wouldn't it?
Especially how it would actually. I'm
No,
kind of cute
I
at the same
don't know.
time.
There would be a lot of feces getting thrown around.
Well, that'd
Well,
be.
not at you, because you're the leader.
I don't know.
It's
They
very
might.
less
Wizard
of
of
revolt.
Oz, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, fuck that. Flying monkeys.
Fly, my beauties, fly.
They were the creepiest little fuckers going,
Yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah.
Smithers, continue the research.
So as the story developed more and more embellishments and speculations crept in, making it difficult to discern what was true. However, a study was published in the Indian Journey of Medical Science in August 23, and finally, out of the shadows, the overblown facts could be dismissed. The 2-week period of reports revealed that East Delhi, the poorest region in Delhi, accounted for 94% of the reports, and of that 94%, 89% of that, the victims were from low social and economic backgrounds. Some experts think they don't understand why many of the allegations were made after noticing the majority of reports were submitted by persons from poor background areas.
Well, surely that's just a numbers thing anyway, because if you're going to get 500 reports in India, 480 of them are going to be from pretty poor fucking people, because there's such a huge divide, isn't there? You've got a small minority of super rich, and then you've got the poor. That's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some speculate that people were rewriting the series of events that resulted in their injuries in an effort to obtain medical care they might not otherwise have access to. So,
well, okay.
They hurt themselves. Oh, I'm not eligible for medical care. Monkey Man attacked me.
Yeah.
After only 2 weeks, the Monkey Man frenzy that had swept Delhi faded. Local law enforcement was spending a lot of time and money investigating witness claims that were getting crazier by the day. They declared that anyone who made fraudulent claims, distributed misleading information, or reported attacks without sufficient proof may face jail time.
Yeah.
This warning, as one might anticipate, was sufficient to prevent many people from reporting Monkey Man attacks. And without bizarre witness accounts, journalists would have nothing to report about.
But then, if it was true, then they've stifled the gathering of the information.
Do you think this is a cover-up by the Delhi police?
Could be.
Because he's actually working for them?
Yeah. Maybe.
That's what I'm going with. Like, shit, Monkey Man's out the bag, we've got to fucking... It's not real, forget about it. You spin us a yarn and we'll arrest you. Good work, Monkey Man. I done taking those drug dealers down.
Do you know what? This does sound like a bit of a Batman cover-up scenario, doesn't it?
I
think Monkey Man is India's Batman.
That's where I'm going with this in my head.
I'm with you on that. I think Mike's off the fence. He's agreeing with us. We've solved it.
Yep.
Claire, where are you at?
She's on the same page as us, definitely. She thinks it's like the equivalent of the real life Batman.
You can narrow it down to 3 choices, can't we? India's Batman, Hindu god on a rampage, or man in a monkey suit.
Or there's number 4, which is just all a load of bollocks.
Oh,
yeah, I'm going to go for all a load of bollocks, and just maybe a couple of them were a bit hairy, like, because...
He's just a hairy man.
Yeah, some are quite hairy over there, aren't they? And then, that's just been perpetuated, and, it's just got out of control.
What are you saying about, like, Indian people? You're saying they're all hairy?
Not all hairy, but you can get some hairy men, just like you can get some hairy...
No, you are right.
Englishmen,
But do you know what? You see a lot of Indian lads, 13, 14, who've got fucking big beards going already. You know what I mean? So they are quite... Dark people generally are hairy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Black hair, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you are right. He's probably more like he's a fucking hairy fucking hobo.
Let's face it.
It's a hairy hobo who's got very long hair because he hasn't looked after himself for
He's
years.
become one of them like priests who wanders around in a nappy and they don't shave their beard, cut their hair.
Like what do they call themselves?
There is a word for it. They kind of take themselves out of society.
Sadhus.
Nomads.
They're called sadhus.
Is that yeah?
They take themselves out of society and live on the fringes and don't bathe.
Legally, they're dead.
I remember watching.
Legally dead.
Yeah.
I remember watching An Idiot Abroad, and he spent some time with one in India, and I think that's the most likely scenario on it. Yes, a couple of people did get attacked by some.
But he could have mental health issues. I just started freaking out.
Yeah, he might have been on something.
It might not be just one person, it might be just like, a couple of people have reported a couple of hairy guys. Or they've been attacked by hairy guys.
Some hairy guys over there. Let's report them.
And then, like, the police...
Then
then, the dumbass police are going, hairy like how? And, like a monkey, and then,
And then that's been leaked to the media.
Yeah. It's
Monkey Man attacks in Delhi.
Yeah.
And it's gone out of hand.
Yeah, it's got a hand.
Or they were trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like cover up something else that was happening in the background.
A bit of a distraction.
Yeah, maybe it was a distraction.
Some other corruption that's going on.
Something might have been going on at the time, and that was a distraction,
could be.
and it fucking worked. Let's
always
face
does,
it.
doesn't it? It always does.
Yeah.
So it could be completely fabricated.
Things we'll never know.
No, well, it was
That's
what,
the
20 years ago? 23
Yeah.
years ago this happened?
Very true.
Funny one though, eh?
Yep.
Leathery 5-foot creatures with crab-like pincers beamed man into UFO for examination. Calvin Parker, who actually has recently just passed away last week, I think.
Oh.
Well, I think he was a sole survivor. Calvin Parker of the Pascagoula abduction died late last month, and even on his deathbed he never came to terms with the visit from the grey crab-clawed creatures from outer space. Well, he shouldn't be standing next to that fucking thing, should he? Oh man, that's confusing. There's a grey with tits.
I can't like it.
It's kind of confusing.
I want to go do a motorboat, but...
Well, if we go back to sexy aliens, they're greys in wigs, weren't they?
Yeah.
4 decades ago, Calvin Parker, 19, and Charles Hickson, 42, from Mississippi, claimed they were abducted by a group of aliens and boarded onto their spacecraft. Calvin passed away on August 24th, aged 68. His publicist announced it on Saturday, September 2nd, after a long battle with kidney cancer. Even up to his death, he never came to terms with the alleged visit from grey, crab-clawed creatures from outer space that came to be known as the Pascagoula abduction. It was like any other Thursday evening. The pair decided on a spot of fishing after work off the banks of the Pascagoula River when something alien caught their eye. After trespassing into the area, so we're not blameless here, Calvin initially thought the cops had come to move him and his pal along when he saw hazy blue lights gleam off the water. But little did he know what was coming was far more menacing than the authorities. Is there anything more menacing than the American authorities?
Maybe not.
Nah.
Yeah, the Taliban.
I'd take my chances with the aliens over the Yankee police or the Taliban.
Got them pork chops.
They're fucking they're mutton chops, they are, man. They're full on mutton chops, aren't they?
Yeah. You tell us this is the 70s.
We're looking at a picture of the
Of
two
them both,
abductees, are we?
A real bright beam appeared all over us, and it kind of blinded me for a second, he told Fox 10 News. And when I got my vision back, I see 3 bulky-looking creatures coming towards us. Calvin claimed these weren't just your typical aliens with slender bodies and long fingers. The 3 creatures stood around 5 feet tall and were built like football players. They moved like robots, had leathery grey skin, and had crab-like pincers and were floating above the ground. That is brown trousers time.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
2 of the beings allegedly grabbed Charlie, while the 3rd took hold of Calvin. Things took another extraordinary turn, as the pair said they were beamed into the spacecraft before being taken into the examination room and made to lie on the table. Charlie said he was paralysed, perhaps by fear, but believed by his captor's powers. And I suppose if you go to most of the alien abduction cases, people do tend to say, well, I couldn't move.
Yeah.
But it's easy to do stuff to people that are paralysed, isn't it?
Well, that's
Makes
true.
sense.
After being poked, prodded and scanned in the ship's examination room, the tale had one final twist. Prodded by crab pincers. I don't want... it's like having Dr. Zoidberg do a fucking medical examination on you. I don't want... That's it. I don't want that.
No.
One final twist, and that he said that's when I noticed this more feminine creature came out. She looked completely different from what I call the robots, he said. Unlike her crab-handed counterparts, Calvin claimed the alien shoved her human-like fingers down his throat and grabbed his uvula while covering his nose. What the fuck's an uvula?
Uvula.
Uvula?
The thing at the back of your throat, is
The
it?
dangly bit.
Yeah.
While
That's what
covering
it
his
is.
nose. All the while, to quote her, she telepathically told me, "Don't be afraid, we're not going to hurt you. Kind of feels like you are."
Yeah. There's a bit, doesn't it?
We're like, well, okay, after we've done here, I'll do this to you and we'll see what happens, shall we? We'll see how you like it. As quickly as they were beamed up to the UFO, they returned to Earth and quickly called the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Glenn Ryder, the former sheriff, laughed as the men recounted the story and he brought them into the station. The men were made to take lie detector tests and would pass with flying colours. They even left them in this room, left the recorder running, and fucked off to have a laugh about it in the hope that they'd do their own story. Oh yeah, I think we got him here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they just kept on like just jabbering fearfully about it. Where the fuck did you see those pincers?
Yeah.
UFOologists and researchers flew in to interview and hypnotise the two, concluding they did experience something traumatic. Calvin and Charlie were even sent to Keesler Air Force Base to make sure they weren't radioactive. That's interesting, because if nothing happened to them, why are they being sent to an Air Force base? You know,
of course, yeah.
if they're making it up, or this is so far-fetched, get the fuck out of my office, why are they wasting US taxpayers' dollars on sending these guys to an Air Force base to get check for radioactivity?
They clearly know more than they let on, and they have done for many years, so they knew, we need to get them checked out.
If they've been on one of their spacecrafts, they could be radioactive now.
It's like you said, if you just didn't believe them and you were just laughing at them, dismissing what they were saying, you wouldn't be then wasting taxpayers, government money, time, etc. Wouldn't happen, would it?
No.
Not even in the 70s. Certainly wouldn't happen now.
And think, they're two males in Mississippi in the 70s. Yeah? They're expected to be pretty manly, weren't they? That sort of time in them states.
So.
Yeah.
You certainly wouldn't be making up stories of crab men abducting you.
And being fearful of your life and petrified,
you're going to be made
etc.
a laughing stock, aren't you? You know what like small towns in America's like.
Yeah, try that in small town.
Yeah.
Like the country song says.
I mean, I don't know if they made any money out of...
The older one never recounted it publicly, because basically he was too fucking scared. Didn't want to remember it, didn't want to have anyone mention it around him. Calvin took the same line for a long time, and then he, in his older age, started talking about it a bit because people became interested in it. So I suppose, I think he did have a book written for him.
More recent years, though.
Quite recently, I think. Possibly as a historical record of it, because if not, the story dies with him, doesn't it?
Is it possible they were smoking copious amounts of weed while they were fishing?
Not saying that you smoked copious amounts of weed, Mike, obviously, but have you?
I have smoked enough to hallucinate shit. Yeah.
Have you seen crabmen?
Not crabmen, no.
Right. Oh, you just saw a dead kid in the tree.
Nah, I don't think they were. Nah.
Mushrooms.
Trips, mushrooms, yeah, but them both have the same trip.
Power suggestion. Look at that over there. Looks like a crab man.
But then why are they eating magic mushrooms? I mean, they could. I mean, is there a possibility that they ate the wrong mushroom?
Yeah, possibly.
Might have made them a hearty mushroom soup.
There we go. Could have done.
We're speculating very
we are.
Very loosely here now.
Swamp gas.
It's almost a swamp gas, man.
Ball lightning!
I actually watched a video on swamp gas the other day because it came up on my YouTube feed. It was like white ball lightning and that, and the ghost lights that you see.
Yeah.
Is it like swamp gas? It's like, you'd be surprised, that stuff's pretty fucking flammable.
Yeah.
It really is.
Is it hallucinatory as well?
It's methane, so I guess if you were breathing in enough of it.
Hallucinatory?
Is that a word?
No. Hallucinogenic, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
A hallucinogen. But, made a new word. See if we can get that in the Collins Dictionary.
Well, don't put anything in nowadays.
I know, fucking hell.
So what do we think, crabman?
Yeah, well, like I agree with what you said. 70s. I've said this kind of thing many times myself. Them days especially. You go back 50 years, people weren't prepared to make a fucking dick out of themselves because there was too much repercussion.
You'd be known forever in your town as that bloke who got abducted by aliens, the crazy guy.
But nowadays, you can get away with it
everyone's crazy nowadays
because of TikTok, all these different platforms that have made the ludicrous not so ludicrous anymore, even though they are realistically.
They've made it entertainment, haven't they?
I think you keep saying they can get more of a following.
Yeah.
In the old days, it's a crazy man on the street corner shouting about the end of times.
Yeah.
On TikTok now, you can reach millions of people.
Yeah, and a lot of people are ready to believe.
We all want to believe.
So in them days, nobody wanted to believe. No, it's very, very fucking Christian part of the world. Very
deep
high.
Mississippi, in the Bible.
That's
Belt,
what I mean.
Yeah.
We're talking very, very deeply religious people who would dread to think of any other existence other than mankind.
They would explain it as demons, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but they didn't, did they? That's the thing.
No, but the people in the community would say, like,
yeah. But so why would they do that to themselves?
Yeah.
So that does make you make it more plausible.
You are opening yourself. You are in the 1970s in the Mississippi in America. You're opening yourself up to ridicule,
if not worse,
by coming out with this and ruining your life potentially, because everyone knows each other. It's, you know,
lynching still a thing.
I don't think I'm gonna lynch you. Yeah, it's an interesting one, and it's one that's never really kind of been explained.
And it never will, really. No. Will it? Especially now they're gone.
But then again, who knows? I mean, if we ever get the aliens' records, disclosure comes out, and the aliens have to submit a report every time they've abducted somebody.
Yeah.
Which was the deal originally. If we go back to Eisenhower meeting the aliens, they had to provide a list of all the people they'd abducted.
Allegedly.
Right. Let's go with it. No allegedly yet. Then, and we get their names on a list. Then we know it's true.
All along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could be something else.
Or it could be like the tripping the tits off our swamp. That's just methane. Can methane get you high?
No, knock you out.
Yeah. Would you hallucinate while you're out?
The only reason it would knock you out is because of the lack of oxygen.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm going with the crab man.
I knew you would. I'm on the fence, obviously.
Swamp grass would just create nasty, foul smell and highly flammable. No hallucinogenic properties of that. Otherwise, everyone would be fucking sticking their noses right up their partner's arses and getting.
That's true.
Tits.
No one would buy drugs.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
if
bloody hell.
your methane was a hallucinogenic, you'd be constantly there walking around with your nose up everyone's arse. Give me a bit of that beefy one.
Stinky version of the human centipede.
I'd be like the biggest methane dealer in the town. I mean, bottling it and selling it.
Oh. The Carter special.
Do you want a Sunday dinner one? I don't know.
Oh.
It's a special brew. It's from the morning after the night before.
Oh man, if only that was true. In another reality, that's true. In another multiverse, that's true. And I'm a drug kingpin. All right, let's go to Area 51. Let's go to Area 51 and Project Abigail. I like this one.
I've not heard about this one.
It's probably crap, but I like it. Military base Area 51, one of those protected sites on Earth.
If it exists.
Oh, it
Does
exists.
exist,
Yeah,
The
but
base is there.
if it's what we think it is.
I think
Well,
it's a double bluff.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that. I think
There's
it
nothing
is
there
a
now, I
bluff.
don't think. There might have been at one point, but
I think, if nothing else, they test the most advanced conventional planes we have there. Both the stealths are developed there, the U-2, the B-52, the SR-71 Blackbird. They're all developed there.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I think with as regards to the UFOs, I think that's done at Wright Patterson Air Force Base.
or something like that.
Or
Yeah.
somewhere completely unknown in a mountain somewhere.
Dolce base.
Dolce Base, if that exists. Area 51 is not only known for stories about aliens. Other legends have arisen around this place, all as well as a selection of creepy and related conspiracy theories. One of them is a story of a girl, Abigail Vesta, who was allegedly turned into a bloodthirsty monster during the
That's a
experiment.
shit, eh?
It is a bit.
When does this report come out like?
I don't know, maybe it'll tell us, I don't know what it is, but it's certainly an internet legend.
Sounds a little bit Stranger Things to me.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
If you know, in a way.
Well, she wasn't into a monster, was she? She unleashed the monster from another parallel
Yeah.
dimension.
Yeah, but they enhanced her, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
That's what I mean. They were experimenting on children,
Mm-hmm.
enhancing.
Well, that
children.
happened, didn't it?
Montauk Project.
Yeah.
Still coming. 1945, Area 51 was an ordinary military facility with a banal name
Banal.
Banal.
That Benzane.
You
Ready for some banal?
You up for some banal, love?
What's that? Bend over and find out.
It was called Indian Springs Air Force Base, and during the Second World War, ammunition and military equipment were stored here. But after the surrender of Japan, the need for this outpost disappeared, and the military began to think how to use the base further. As a result, the Pentagon decided the Indian Springs Base would remain subordinate to the Air Force, but the facility would be used for the development and testing of the latest weapons. This is how Zone 51 appeared, which still excites the minds of millions. After the war, many secret documents from the scientific laboratories of the Reich and Japan, Unit 731 in their case, fell into the hands of the Americans, and some of them concerned the breeding of the so-called Superman. It should be an ideal soldier, strong, hardy, and sensitive to pain, and not knowing fear, and at the same time completely devoted to its creators. You can't. Well, they had a go, didn't they, with the brainwashing?
So insensitive to pain. So in other words, don't feel pain.
Or methed off their tits.
Well, the only thing that would be, would be the best. Well, zombie, yeah, but that can be blown apart and stuff easily, and it's AI robots, isn't it? They don't feel pain, they don't feel fear, they're strong, they're hardy. The only thing is, are they completely devoted to the creators?
No. It's Chester, the show cat.
Hello, Chester.
As if you're looking to upgrade man at this point. AI is not a possibility in 1945.
No.
So you want to upgrade the existing soldiers you've got.
Nazi zombies.
Maybe. I mean, they had a good go with the Waffen SS, because I mean they were brainwashed to an incredible level. They would hold the line, they would fight to the last man. Then of course you give all your soldiers chocolate with meth in it, that helps too. Panzer chocolade. Give the tank crews to keep them awake. Methed up chocolate. So it was decided to start research in this direction. Dr. Albert Vester, sounds German to me.
They all were, weren't they?
Project Paperclip going on here, maybe. He was put in charge of the project, and this scientist already had serious developments. So he's been doing this in a concentration camp, hasn't he?
Yeah.
If this is to be believed.
Bit of Mengele job in it.
He's got serious developments, but they had to be tested on a person, and there's a problem with this. A random person, even more so a criminal, was not suitable for this purpose. So I suppose maybe it's with the old Captain America, you can't be a bad guy and have the super serum. Maybe it's like that. That's what happens to the German guy he takes, he gets a red skull face.
Oh, is that what happened to him, was it?
Yeah, he got a copy of it, took it, but because he was a bad guy, what's it do? It magnifies bad or good. So he ended up with a red skull face. But he was a Nazi, so it's only sort of justified, really, isn't it? Sorry that you're red skull face, mate, but you are a Nazi, so don't care. An educated, motivated, and at the same time completely trusting Vester candidate was needed. And there were no takers at all, since the idea of creating Superman, even in the middle of the 20th century, caused people to be sceptical. Moreover, everybody knew that the experiment would be dangerous, and no one knows what will happen in the end.
That's it. It's been the guinea pig, isn't it? He wants to be that first person to try it.
Therefore, Albert Vester, after much thought, decided to conduct an experiment on his daughter, Abigail Vester. Now, if this guy's not a fucking Nazi, come on.
That's terrible.
What a cunt.
The girl was a college student and often helped her father in her work, and as a result she was isolated in one of the boxes of Area 51 and began to turn into a, quote, superhero. The girl began to be injected with all kinds of drugs, both hormonal and absolutely secret. Very soon she began to change outwardly. Abigail grew up, her skin began to shrink and her jaws became more massive. A few months later the creature only vaguely resembled a human, and it also began to lose its mind, increasingly showing aggression and acting like an animal. Vester was asked to stop the experiment. You'd think he might have done it a bit earlier than that.
Yeah.
And he refused. He didn't want to give up his life's work. And there was nowhere to go. The biologist understood that as soon as the project was curtailed, Abigail would be destroyed by the military. Therefore, all the employees of the laboratory had no choice but to watch the creature grow and grow wild. Abigail was getting taller and stronger, and the cooks were forced to cook for her several times more. All this lasted for 2 years and ended in a complete collapse. Abigail became stronger than several men, and her height reached 3 meters. But the monster could not carry out any commands since it had completely lost its human mind. Realising this, Albert Vester committed suicide,
Fucking hell.
and he left a note in which he asked to keep his daughter alive, even if she could not regain her mind.
Why would you keep it alive?
Yeah,
That's disturbing, isn't it? That's child abuse and
Just a
some
bit.
in it. Fucking hell.
I mean, it's a good job it's a load of bollocks.
I say I just don't know whether I believe this at all.
Yeah. I mean, but if the slim chance that it is true, that is vile, isn't
She
it?
basically 3 meters tall.
Basically,
he's longer than several men, massive pointy teeth.
He turned it into fucking Slender Man.
He's turned it into Blanca.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Something between Blanca and Slender Man.
Yeah.
Maybe she is Slender Man. Maybe she got away.
Maybe.
Well, it's funny you should say that. After the death of the scientist, the laboratory was closed and funding for the project stopped. The military decided not to touch Abigail, but simply stopped bringing food and water to her box.
God.
Everyone thought the mutant would gradually fade away and die, but everything turned out differently. And then it got worse. The creature managed to break out the door, killed 2 guards and escape. Attempts to catch Abigail failed and the monster was never seen again. However, some people believe the monster, even after 70 years, lives in the vicinity of Zone 51.
We're in the desert.
Yeah. Sometimes it seems that to the military, they see a huge shadow in the desert at night or hear an uninvited guest trying to scratch the outside wall of the box.
Trying to get back in.
Yeah. It is believed that it is precisely because of the danger of meeting with Abigail that Area 51 is so carefully protected from uninvited guests. So yeah, but it's probably a creepypasta. I do know the photos they've used in this article aren't accurate. But yeah, I like it nonetheless.
I think they're all fake. I think the whole thing's fake, to be honest. It's a great story, but where's the evidence?
Well, you got leaks. If it
Leaks
is,
from who?
well, that's it. Anonymous leaks. Leaks from anonymous sources.
There's not a weird mutant woman.
70
creature.
years old, rolling
Yeah.
around, snapping military men in half with their teeth.
in the desert.
Well,
I like buying that one.
She'd be 80 odd years old, wouldn't she?
Or whatever. It ain't happening, is it?
Yeah, no.
And if it
What would she
worked,
have
if they
survived on?
managed this, there's no way that they would. The US Army would just shut it down and not try and develop it at all.
Well, it is if you go, well, God, what the fuck's that? We
Yeah,
don't want
they're
them.
going to try and perfect it each time, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not going to give up, are they? And just say, right, we can do this, but we're not going to because it failed once.
That's true.
Well, if you're manipulating the DNA and genetics in a human like that, then yeah, they're going to keep trying to get it
Of course they are.
working well.
Maybe they did.
Well,
Maybe.
Maybe they took it out of this Nazi's hands.
No, I just think it's a good, creepy story, but that's it.
I almost find it too hard to believe that someone could do that to their own
Yeah.
daughter.
He's a Nazi.
Yeah.
His own daughter, though.
He's a
Even,
Nazi.
even Nazis love their own families.
No, not it's for the greater good, Mike. Bormann killed his 6 kids in the bunker. You know.
Just made me think of a film for my next choice.
Oh yeah.
Boy in Striped Pyjamas.
Oh great, that's fucking depressing.
Never seen it. What is it?
You've seen it then.
I've seen it, yeah.
You've
No,
not
I've
seen
not
it.
seen it.
You've not seen it.
Well, give it.
It's a great film though.
It's-
You got to hand it to. It's a great film.
Is it
But
about the
that's it.
Holocaust,
That's
is
all
it?
we can. You don't want to spoil anything, so yeah. One for the future, guys.
Well, I'll make them fucking cheerfully listen, won't it? If you go to the Dulce base I mentioned earlier, though, human genetic research and the Hall, was it the Hall of Terrors or something like that?
Mm.
Was very much a thing. Phil Schneider commented on that. Then he was found dead.
Yeah.
Is that the forerunner to this? Is there a tiny grain of something in here?
I can believe that they've done, human projects with, DNA and all sorts.
And probably human specimens to work with, and
Well,
easily.
Take a few homeless guys off the street.
Yeah,
Don't
easily.
even is that just clones?
Yeah, I was thinking going down the line of clones. So then ethically,
Mm.
that what you're growing,
The guy who cloned Dolly the sheep died the other day, didn't
Did he?
he? Yeah.
Oh man,
Talking about clones.
God, I can't everyone stop dying.
This thing ain't dying, is
Miss
it?
Abigail ain't dying. She'll never die. Just
It's a myth. It's a legend now, isn't it?
unlike these poor fucking dogs I've got coming up next.
Oh, well, what we got then?
Exploding anti-tank dogs of World War II. This is terrible. I don't like this.
We've talked about this before. It's horrific, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Dogs, usually Alsatians, also called Hundmeinen or dog mines, they were trained to carry explosives on their body to the enemy tanks, where they would then be detonated. So you put a bomb on the back of a dog with a little lever sticking up. It's trained to run under the tank.
Set the mine off.
Lever goes down. Mine goes off. Bye tank. Bye Alsatian.
Yeah, dog explodes.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I think that's all we need to say on this matter. We don't really need to go through the article, but that's all we need to know. It happened. Fucking terrible.
But
God,
luckily, there's a
we're
bit
so glad the Nazis didn't
there's
win.
a bit of Schadenfreude.
There's a bit of poetic justice.
That's it, poetic justice.
Soviet tanks use diesel. German tanks use petrol.
Cool.
The Soviets tried this first, and obviously they've got some tanks there, engines running, put the treat underneath, but the dogs go on the scents, don't they? So they smell the diesel. The Germans, when they train these dogs to do it, first batch of dogs, send them to the front. The German tanks start approaching, they release the dogs. The dogs don't go to the German tanks because they're belching petrol out. They run back to the Soviet tanks behind the lines and detonate those.
Blow up their own tanks.
Bow, bow, bow.
Serves them fucking right.
Yeah.
Even if they were on our side technically at that time, but still serves them right. Underhanded tactics, don't like them.
Desperate times at this point. The Soviets are on their arse in this stage of war and need something very cheap.
I got to admire their cunning, but it's dogs, man. Used cats, that wouldn't have been a problem, would
You
it?
can't train a cat though, can you?
I know, that's why they had to use dogs. Cats would have been the first choice, I'd imagine. No, I'm kidding. No, yeah.
Well, apparently in the Battle of Kursk, 12 tanks were destroyed by 16 deployed dogs.
Was that their own tanks?
No, I think that was actually, they got it right in the end. Soviets later reported that some 300 tanks have been destroyed by anti-tank dogs, but let's face it, it's the Russians in World War II. Well, it's the Soviets in World War II. You can't trust what they're saying.
Nah.
You couldn't trust them at any point ever.
No, but anti-tank dogs were continued to be trained until 1996.
Fuck me. I mean, I can kind of understand it in the summer of 1941 and into 1942 when the Russians are very much potentially on the brink of getting knocked out, losing Moscow.
Yeah.
You know, they'd have been fucked. So yeah, alright, desperate times. Still not my first choice of thing I'd do though. I'd rather train people to do it. It's not like you've got a shortage of people as the Soviet Union, is it?
Well, the last time they were used was in the Iraq War. Suicide
dogs.
Yeah.
Well, the dog, yeah, it's
2007.
shocking. Poor dogs.
Yeah,
I
it's
believe
horrific.
they used that recent, really, 2007.
They've been trained in Japan and United States as well, though.
It wouldn't surprise me if they trained them in Japan. Everyone was going to be a suicide bomber in Japan if the Americans, the Allies ever invaded.
But why would the Yanks start doing it? That just seems a bit un-westernised, doesn't it?
Yeah. I suppose it's one of them things like we've got they're doing it, so let's have a look at it ourselves. But I don't really think there's a need for the Western Allies to attempt it.
Don't need it, do we?
You know, you've got more of everything than the other side, so what's it matter?
We've got laser targeted bombs now. We don't need them, do we?
Well, no. So, so in 1996, and they were trained up to in the Russian and other armies. World War II, the Japan and the Americans did it. So in 1996, so you got laser targeted bombs at that point. Were you training dogs to blow shit up for?
Well, we maybe weren't at that point. We might have been like the Americans, and that might have been doing it earlier. It doesn't say when they were doing it.
I don't think the Brits had ever drew it because when they said at the start of the Blitz, like, oh, if you've got a dog, it might be an idea to have it put down, so it doesn't freak out and like savage you.
Everyone was like, no.
And everyone went no.
You can understand the Koreans doing it. Then they'd have a barbecue after.
I was say they got food, haven't they?
Bit of roasted Alsatian. Do you think they picked Alsatians because they're German dogs, and the Soviets thought it'd be bitterly ironic?
Yeah.
Very easy to train though.
Yeah, it's horrific. This is, isn't it? Well,
very clever and easy to train.
I don't want it. I don't.
If humans have to go to war, leave the fucking animals out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially at this point. There's no need.
No.
Third man syndrome. You ever heard of this?
No.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. I was talking about this to my mum, in fact, on Saturday, when she phoned me in the morning. Yeah, and she thought she's heard things like this as well, and she said it was quite an intriguing one.
So let's go back to between 1914 and 1917. Sir Ernest Shackleton embarked on a wild plot to cross the entire Antarctic, an ill-fated journey that would ultimately fail, but be remembered as one of the greatest feats of human endurance. When the Endurance, the ship carrying Shackleton's party, became stuck in the ice in 1915, a group of sailors made an arduous journey across inhospitable land to reach Elephant Island and then eventually South Georgia, where the ill-equipped men crossed mountains and glaciers to find safety.
Do you know what they brought with them? I'm sure there's somewhere in Antarctica there's a grand piano, isn't there, Ben?
Yes.
They brought a fucking piano with them for entertainment.
So it's on a couple of fucking skis, like a couple of your palm, with the way the friction works, it wouldn't be that much effort to pull.
No, but you're trying to take just things just for survival, aren't you?
I know.
You're on this massive journey.
They were British though, weren't they?
They were British.
Good old British stiff upper lip. we need to keep the morale up, boys. Bring the piano.
But sir, we took 2 tons of food off for this piano, put the piano on.
Take a mouth organ or something small, you know.
What am I going to sit out when I'm sipping my fucking whiskey tonight?
So it was on the ship.
Yeah, and they took it off the ship.
Took it off the ship as well.
And at some point they must have just left it.
It is with great regret we abandon our beloved grand piano. Days will be much darker than the melodious tinkering of private scrubs.
But that thing wouldn't even play because it had been so frozen,
That's
wouldn't it?
probably why they left it. They realised they couldn't play it anymore.
Well, they all got frostbite in their fingers.
Yeah. Ridiculous, isn't it?
They all lost their fingers.
Fingers breaking off as they're trying to fucking play.
So these guys are going fucking miles across mountains and glaciers not in the right gear. And during that long and racking march of 36 hours over the unnamed mountains and glaciers of South Georgia, it seemed to me that we were often 4, not 3. So three guys go off, and they all swear to God there was fucking 4. Thanks to this account, more survivors have since come forward to explain a bizarre phenomena known as third man syndrome, an unexplainable apparition that only appears in the worst circumstances. So Shackleton first described it, and a strange companion appeared to him during the tough legs of his journey, but soon more and more people came forward to echo his experience. Mountain explorers, shipwreck survivors and polar explorers have all claimed to either seen a person or heard a voice, often providing helpful information on how they should escape their situation.
It's a case of the brain sort of inventing somebody.
To give them the outside opinion,
Yeah.
so they can make their mind up.
Maybe.
He's told me to do that. That's what I should do.
Maybe it's your rational part of your brain projecting itself because you're starting to go down with exposure. You're not thinking right.
It's almost like the devil on your left shoulder, right angel on the right shoulder, innit? Like kind of, it's like one side of your brain's like giving up almost, telling you the negative, and then the other side of your brain's right, perk up. How can I get him to perk up? I know. Imagine we'll imagine this guy that he trusts. Up. It's one of them, isn't it? Maybe.
Another example, British explorer Frank Smythe, who almost became the first person to summit Mount Everest in 1933.
Almost. How unlucky is that? Almost became the first person.
Yeah. Along with his climbing party, Smythe made the intense journey towards the summit in poor conditions, but his party soon turned back after terrible weather and a lack of oxygen made the summit an impossible task. Smythe continued, probably because it's 1933 and he's got an incredible moustache.
And again, he's British, so
And, he's got, come on, damned if we do, damned if we don't. Oh, well, lovely boy, let's go up this mountain. Smythe continued, determined to complete the summit, but narrowly missed it by 304 metres or 1,000 feet.
I dropped my moustache plume. I had to go back.
Is that narrowly missing it? 1,000 feet?
340 metres.
204 metres. I don't know.
It's not narrow, is it? It's quite.
It's what it is in comparison.
Maybe.
When you're thinking how tall
All right.
is Everest?
Well, you go and climb Everest.
Eight-
Let us know how you get on.
8,000 metres or 5,000?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, no idea how tall Everest is. It's tall. Fucking tall, I know that much. I know loads of people die every year on it.
I gotta check that.
Did he come back, that guy?
Yeah. All the time, he said, Smiley said, to quote him, all the time that I was climbing alone, I had a strong feeling that I was accompanied by a second person. The feeling was so strong that it completely eliminated all loneliness I might otherwise have felt, he recounted in his diary after the attempt. At one point, Smythe was so convinced of his imaginary guide that he tried to share some Kendall mint cake with him, but upon turning round realised there was no one there.
Like a bit of Kendall mint cake.
Weird they still make that.
Do they?
Yeah.
It's nice, minty.
Really sweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
8.8 thousand metres. Nearly 8,848 metres.
Yeah, so he was 1,000 feet off. That's
No,
1/8.
no. Metres.
Oh.
He was 1,000 foot off. He was
He was
304
304 metres
So he'd
off.
done 8,500 out of 8.8 thousand.
Oh, right.
So he was pretty. You know what I mean? In
Did he
relativity.
think he'd summited, but he
He's like,
I think it just got too bad for him.
he's there. You know what I mean? He's at that tip.
Yeah, the weather wasn't great. They must have given him all the oxygen that was left, and
Yeah.
then descended.
He'd have been like, there, on that bit
Do
there.
you think that is why he may have hallucinated?
Lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe.
potentially, easily, very
Yeah.
explainable.
Scientific explanations have been put forward. It is likely hallucination, a response to extreme stress, but that the idea puts forward reasonable information in times of extreme pressure, suggests it's some kind of survival
That's what we
resource.
said, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's like your own internal instinct kicking in and giving you, like I said, a pat on the back,
Yeah,
like
you
giving
probably
a bit of a
think, oh, I
shove.
can't do this on my own, I can't do this on my own. Then your brain invents someone, you're
Yeah.
not on your own, look. Someone
Or
there.
your brain's starting to get a bit wobbly because you've got exposure, and it somehow creates this person to tell you what you should be doing, the knowledge you've got but can't access.
Yeah.
So you should probably get yourself in some shelter now. Get a fire. Oh yeah, I should.
Well, it's like your
Because
brain.
before you just stuck it around on Everest and fell off.
Yeah, your brain and your body are giving up, but your other side of your brain's going, no, you shouldn't give up, but you've overtaken me, so I need to invent something to make you see me.
Yeah, you know how to do this, and I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. It's a strange
Yeah.
concept, but then that doesn't explain three people all thinking there was a fourth person with them.
Yeah, that's odd.
That's the most odd, isn't it? Of the accounts.
You're just turning up in times when it's really bad, getting them to keep going.
Yeah. Maybe it was the albino guide. You get lost in a snowstorm. He's disappeared again, that man. I'm sure there's another one here. Milky's back.
I don't think you can call an albino Milky anymore. Like calling your Labrador the N-word.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine.
I'm pretty sure the albino community's not going to be too happy with it.
We do apologise for Mike.
To members of the albino community on behalf of Mike.
On behalf of Mike, we apologise, yes, sincerely, to any albino people from the community that may be offended.
Oh, chalk it up. How many up do you know? I'm surprised you haven't called Chester Ginge.
No, because I'm a member of that community.
That's fine though. You're allowed to be gingerist.
That's true.
That's the only one that's allowed.
They're not really people, are they?
They have no souls. Wow. I joke. My dad's ginger, so I can't say shit.
He'll beat you. I like the idea that your brain's conjuring you a friend when the chips
it's
are
been
down.
used in therapy.
It feels like the most plausible explanation to me, but the three men seeing the fourth person is the most intriguing.
Yes.
Maybe they didn't see the fourth person. Maybe like power suggestion. He's like, they've got what about him there? The other one's like, you know, a bit of suggestion. They're all in the same boat.
Maybe it was the Yeti stalking them.
Or, yeah, let's call him Dave or whatever. I'm sure Dave gets some candle mint cake.
Yeah, though, here's another explanation for it. If you're in snowy Antarctica...
Are you going to go the grey man route?
No, I'm going snow shadow.
Same thing, yeah.
It's literally your shadow showing in the snow falling.
Yeah.
So you can almost see a projection of a shadow, but stood upright in nothing. But
Yeah.
and what did you say it's called?
There's a few things on Scottish mountains called the Grey Man. It's the most popular one. This huge grey figure that appears in the distance.
Oh, and that's from the fog.
It's the fog. It's the sun.
Yeah.
And it's like when it hits at certain angles, it reflects your shadow through this dense fog.
Yeah.
And you end up with what looks like a 20-foot tall man off in the distance.
Which would make sense why potentially you're all seeing one person, because you're all seeing your own shadow.
Mm.
So if there's three of you, there's only going to be four of you. There's not going to be
You're probably
six
all
of
going
you.
in the terms of Shackleton. They'd have probably all been going in a line as well. So you're only seeing the front guy. Because you'd be breaking the snow, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So you'd all be going. You wouldn't all three of you be breaking the snow. Someone's in front.
Yeah.
You go behind. And you take it in turns. It keeps you fresher.
You'd be like, he's keeping up a quick pace. We should slow down.
Fucking poke ahead, Jesus.
But depending on
Can't catch him no matter what.
depending on conditions, I think that's a pretty plausible.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one
Theory.
thinks it's a guardian angel. I really am.
Well, that was going to be my next theory.
Maybe.
It's not like me to go full fucking.
Pete went full science.
I know. I just went full science on that. I thought
Pete's
really logically about
Pete's
it.
going to say guardian angel, isn't he?
Bigfoot. It was Bigfoot. I did say Yeti first.
You did.
Yeah.
But I had to throw it in.
Well, everything's Bigfoot with you. I can't find my keys. Bigfoot. You use the toilet paper. Bigfoot.
Yeah. I've got one. He lives under my fucking stairs. I'm telling you.
Bigfoot stole our bog roll.
Yep. Did you see that news article last week?
Well, I think that concludes our anthology of the strange. We'll do another one again at some point. So yeah, I've been Ben. Thanks for listening. Don't drink the favourite. Don't join a cult.
I've been Mike. Thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force be with you.
And I've been Claire. Keep an open mind, but not so open that it spills out your ears.
I've been Pete. Everyone have a good week. Take care. Bye.